Chair, now recognize Representative from Georgia, Representative Carter, for 5 minutes for your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank all of you for being here. Chairman Carr, there's been a lot of ink here recently in the past few months or so regarding the streaming market and competition, and there's been a lot of confusion about regulatory jurisdiction in this space. So you care to give us a view on the current landscape?
Well, streaming is something that we stay apprised of at the FCC. It's adjacent to markets that we directly regulate, and it's intertwined. And I think there has been concern increasingly expressed recently about consolidation in the streaming market and potentially further consolidation in the streaming market. Now, that could potentially harm consumers.
Great. Thank you, Chairman Carr. And I'm going to jump straight into some my next inquiry regarding broadband permitting reform. And as you know, I've introduced the American Broadband Deployment Act of 2025 to help cut red tape in the speed broadband build-out and to close the digital divide across America, which has been passed on to the full committee and awaits floor consideration. Chairman Carr, I appreciate your support for my legislation and your testimony, and I want to ask you, why is it important for Congress to pass my legislation codifying your reforms, and what kinds of steps is the FCC exploring to address state and local barriers to fixed and mobile broadband deployment?
Well, thank you, Congressman, for your leadership on permitting reform. I had the chance to visit with you in Georgia and actually splice fiber at an active build, and as we saw there and in other places around the country, and we have to make sure that's a tough job, it's a difficult job, but we shouldn't have red tape standing in the way. And I continue to think one of the most important things that can happen is to pass that package of permitting reform bills to make sure that we keep turning dirt.
I want to highlight another permitting national security issue regarding undersea cables. This is something that I've taken an interest in because it's critical broadband infrastructure that carries over 95% of international data traffic. I've got a bill that's called the Undersea Cables Protection Act, which will eliminate the need for redundant 5-year special use permits in national marine sanctuaries to streamline duplicate permitting that is significantly slowing down the deployment of cables. Chairman Carr, can you explain why slow-rolling subsea cable infrastructure is a threat to national security?
Well, thank you, Congressman, for working on this. Most consumers probably don't realize it, but to your view, over 95% of all internet traffic ultimately travels over undersea cable. So we're working at the FCC right now to incentivize secure investment, new undersea cables, cybersecurity requirements for some of the technology that is in there. I think your legislation would go a long way to promoting greater secure build-out of that critical infrastructure.
And a lot of this information is in the financial markets as well, isn't it?
That's right.
Commissioner Trustee, I want to ask you, the Commission recently issued a notice of proposed rulemaking on subsea cables that also addressed the importance of speeding the deployment of cables. Can you talk a little bit about how the FCC plans to expedite the permitting and licensing process generally, and why facilitating the deployment of cables is so important?
Yes, absolutely, and thank you for your leadership on this issue. So last year in August, the FCC adopted a proceeding where we streamlined the licensing and permitting processes for undersea cables. We updated outdated rules, we established faster processing timelines for eligible applicants, and we cut unnecessary administrative steps or disclosures, and that helps to promote the fast and efficient deployment of undersea cables, which is essential for our economic and national security. This positions us to be able to promote more US-led cable projects, to diversify our subsea traffic routes, so in the event of sabotage or compromise, there's no single point of failure, and it means we can strengthen our disaster recovery and emergency response plan. So it really helps with redundancy in this critical infrastructure.
And it would be naive of us to think that this wouldn't be used as a weapon at some point.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chairman Carr and Commissioner Trustee. I'm going to do the chairman a favor and give him back about almost a minute. I yield back.